All right, welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. We are almost through the week. This is the middle of the month, so we are having our open discussion. So I'll be dropping the stage link here shortly. If you guys have any conversational points to bring up, you guys got anything interesting, what are your guys' wins and so forth, and we could cover that kind of stuff and start jumping down the conversation hole. Otherwise, I can speak about NIST for literal days, so that is my backup option. But welcome to the party, pal, everybody. I do also want to mention that B-Dubs is cheating, so B-Dubs put in hashtag first, because if you didn't know, I went ahead and threw it in the chat here that you can hop into our live chat on our Discord server and grab the weekly badge. That means that you get a special little GRC Mafia badge for the next week. Inside of our Discord server itself. I see so many familiar people. We got Jeffrey, Rania, B-Dubs, Flakinator. How's the new job working out so far, Flakinator? Congratulations on that. We also got Fred on, AB Showtime, and Cyber Research even. Cyber Research recently is starting his own YouTube channel as well. Bam. I mean, I would consider him GRC Mafia. He at least understands the purpose. You know, he might not, get all excited about it like most of us, but he understands, it's here for a reason, right? Welcome to the party, pal, Rhonda. Not bad, not bad. See, I mean, that's like better than 80% of the jobs I've done before. So right out the gate here, let's go ahead and brush through this intro. Definitely drop your topics and whatever else. I'll go ahead and drop the stage link here in a moment. If you guys want to go ahead and go backstage, and I can bring everybody up after I transition over. We're all here for a shared mission: break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future together. We're all here to learn and grow. There's no way we can learn it all, and that's where each and every single one of us comes in. Our typical schedule: Monday, Tuesdays, we're doing hands-on. Right now, we're going through the CSF 2.0 audit and just doing like that initial to see where we're at now and what we need to work on. Next month, we'll be doing a lot of policies. So definitely looking forward to that part. And then Wednesdays, we're doing the GRC Let's Get Technical. Thursdays, our primary meetings. The first 2 Thursdays of every month, we have speakers. We have some pretty cool ones lined up for next month, actually, including one individual who's going to be doing a really good one that you guys are going to like for sure. The first week there, we'll be scheduling those out on this weekend, and you'll get a sneak peek at that. So some pretty exciting stuff coming out. And then, of course, our AMA open stage on Fridays at 11 as well. When you guys do come up on stage, you do not have to turn on your video. Of course, the microphone is definitely handy, so you guys can communicate and so forth. Ask your questions, even if it doesn't pertain to exactly what we're talking about. Worst case scenario, we'll circle back around to it. And share your resources as well. One of the other benefits of the Discord server, not only the badge itself, which is pretty neat, but then also you can go ahead and drop your social profiles in the live chat. So if you go to our Discord server, hop into the live chat channel, you could drop your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your X, your Blue Sky, or whatever other channels you'd like to, and it'll relay that across the different platforms for you. That's a huge aspect of this networking scenario. Now, if you do share something that you don't want to be public, just let me know. Reach out to me on Discord or LinkedIn. You can also contact me at contact@studygrc.org. Now, I've definitely been dropping this out there. So B-Dubs is absolutely out there killing it. Maybe, killing herself a little bit in the process with how much time prep it is. But the CISSP study group is absolutely amazing. Not only like really, really awesome topics, great presentations on the different sessions that have occurred already. I believe number 6 is coming out on Saturday. Moving into domain 2 for the CISSP, it's beginner friendly. We hop into Discord and VC afterwards for everybody to ask questions and so forth following as well. Plus, it's online for free. Drop your questions on there too. And BrittWhite.io for her weekly blog article too, every single Monday. And then we have our website as well, studygrc.org. That's where you'll find the rest of the platforms we stream to. Maybe you prefer X or LinkedIn or Twitch or some of the other platforms there. But also we have our calendar, which gives you the most up-to-date information on what's coming up. And then also our resources page as well. One of the other cool features, I had shown it before, if you go to our website, you click on that little envelope icon, then that's going to actually take you over to our contact form now, which will also allow you to submit your resume. So you can go through, fill out that form, attach your PDF resume redacted. Just make sure it's redacted, which means that your name's not on there and your phone number, that kind of information that's identifiable is not on there or blacked out. Next Thursday is going to be our job readiness and group resume review. And we'll be going over those. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead and transition on over. I think I covered all of that. Oh, and then also our giveaway. Next Thursday, our giveaway ends. So the bot will automatically be drawing a winner from our giveaway inside of the Discord server as well. So if you join our Discord server this month, we're doing a HIPAA conference giveaway where they're having a virtual conference April 10th and 11th in regards to HIPAA. Assessments, AI in healthcare, all kinds of awesome other talks there too. And it's 100% virtual. And that's our monthly giveaway. That's auto drawn at the last Thursday of every month, right before our meeting. All right, let's go ahead and catch some of this chat here. I'm going to drop the stage link too if anybody would like to come up. Let's see. JT Webb's popping in as well. It's still quiet in the job because they are planning phase for doing audit. Did a mock walkthrough and did pretty well since I have no experience. Yeah, you have some experience though. Even if it's mostly on the technical side, you got this. But it sounds like an awesome opportunity to do that you were able to grab up there. Let's see. Cyber research. I guess I'm not allowed to get the badge. I should have blocked you for it, huh? Oh, yeah. So you have that other role there, which is preventing you from grabbing it. You're not fancy enough for it. However, cyber research, I will tell you that you have made another addict. So I hope you see this up on the screen. All right. It has to be all caps. Let's see here. Yeah, he's got the Opry emoji next to his name. I even made sure to thank the 3 people involved in the interviewing for believing in me and hiring me, even though I had no audit experience. Bam. Let's see here. Oh, we got Flakinator popping up. Welcome to the party, pal. The latest GRC Mafia auditor.
How's it going?
Awesome. How are you?
Not bad.
Yeah, you're not even IT anymore. You're GRC.
Oh, I'm not even IT. It's brutal not having an admin account.
You remember, somebody asked a question along the lines of, oh, for those of you working in GRC, and you're like, oh, I can't answer that. Well, now you can't say that.
Well, technically so where I'm working, technically I'm not, because they have a whole separate GRC team. So I'm actually an auditor as it relates to Sarbanes-Oxley. So I'm actually part of the finance department.
Yeah, but still. So
but it's still
compliance.
It's still GRC-esque. And it's still, So I just have to work on not thinking from a security standpoint and instead thinking more from a,
oh gosh,
like for the specific controls.
Yeah. Yeah. Please do not put your social security number or credit card on the resume. Also, one of the biggest reasons why it's redacted, we do have a warning on that page too, because we are sending it through VirusTotal. If you just DM us your resume, we're not throwing it up on screen anymore. So yeah, there are threat actors out there, and Discord does not scan attachments. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, that's a great opportunity. And then it's been a couple weeks, right?
This is week 3. Yeah. And I know I'll be starting training for Six Sigma Yellow Belt soon. And then after that, I think I'll probably do the CISSP.
Bam.
Yeah. So.
Hey folks, the director of FedRAMP appeared on the Parify podcast this week. He even called out GRC Academy as one of the podcasts that he listens to, which was really cool to hear. Yeah, GRC Academy, that's largely CMMC, but like we've talked about them before too. So Jacob Hill over there, absolutely killing it. And then I saw a thing on LinkedIn earlier today that they're expanding their content as well. So they've went through and made content just for people actually in the DoD. So they understand CMMC as well, which is kind of unique. Yeah, and especially in the CMMC world, GRC Academy, like you see that way more prominent as well. That podcasts and LinkedIn, social media, even Discord has an effect at this point. Much more of a word with the internet nowadays. Let's see. Oh, welcome to the Party Pal Cybercycle.
Oh, I'm surprised B-Dubs isn't in here. And PBO.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
I heard my name.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you're not in here.
I was eating a snack.
Oh, okay. That's loud. I already had dinner, so.
I was eating dinner and then a snack real quick.
I'll have some dessert after the meeting.
Is there a story to that? Resumes to VirusTotal? Well, so the biggest thing is just that Discord does not. They do technically scan attachments, but it's not to a VirusTotal level. Like it's just for very obvious things. But just that's where implementing controls come in. Like, why would we just be downloading and trusting everybody on Discord? It could be a compromised account or somebody we don't even know who's like, oh, here's my resume. We download a PDF and bam, we're pwned at that point. So it just doesn't make sense. Literally this whole time, every single time I have to boot up a VM, I have to open up Discord, I have to download it on there or transfer it over, and it's just a whole mess. So it's way easier workflow to have people just upload it through the automated system that scans it.
I use VirusTotal for a lot of the stuff I download too. Even if I know it's like a trusted site, I'm still like, whatever. It doesn't take long. It's not a big deal.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and so we just wanted to put that disclaimer up there too, because technically it does submit that to that third party. So, but yeah, definitely.
But it's fun to open all the links and files.
You know what?
Well, as long as it's not your own machine.
Files I can send you.
Do what? What'd you say?
What was that, Flakinator?
As long as it's not your own machine you're infecting, who cares, right?
Right.
It's all good.
I mean, I've got some files I can send you, Chris.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of emails that I'll forward over to you, Cyber Research.
Yeah. Russian roulette for cyber.
There you go.
There we go.
Actually, isn't just cyber in general is Russian roulette? I mean, let's be honest here.
I mean, it can be. That's for sure. Especially
depends
in this
on if
day
you're
and
clicking
age.
links or not.
Yeah.
Let's see. That sounds like B-Dub's music from the CISSP study group.
No, that's not the right one.
No? Go figure.
Nope.
Yeah, how is that study group going?
It's going really well, I think. I hear it's going really well.
We've had
put a lot of work into it. Yeah, there's been really good turnout.
PBO hopping in chat too. FedRAMP 53 in the cloud. How many times a day do you say 853 PBO? I'm legitimately curious.
Every other word.
Do you, I don't even know the answer to this, but PBO, do you even use 850 in your current position anyways? Or do you just have that hardwired in from your DoD time? Uh-oh. Oh, it's Cybercycle. Okay, I thought PBO was going to come throw hands.
Yeah. I assume that PBO just has a tattoo right across his chest that just says like NIST, 853 on it.
Probably.
I'm getting very, very close to getting, NIST life on my knuckles, so
You
don't
could
be
3D print like rings, it says NIST on one, life on the other. I thought about trying to 3D print that and send it off to Jerry. I thought I was going to print it and send it to Jerry. I was thinking of something silly like that.
Oh gosh. He would totally roll with that too.
He would.
Or he needs to get a gold chain that just says NIST. Oh gosh. Yeah, welcome to the party, pal, everybody.
What's up?
This is a party.
Hey.
How's it going, Cybercycle?
It's going awesome. It's going real good. I'm making dinner, doing all kind of stuff right now, so that's why I'm not video, because probably wouldn't be pleasant.
I mean, it could be a whole cooking show, right?
Yeah.
It's 8-bit.
Yeah.
Well,
we got lots of lanes.
Edition.
We have lots of lanes.
Yeah, don't forget to grab your guys' badges too. I could probably go ahead and start this up too. We're going to be doing a giveaway today as well, which wasn't even announced until now.
Hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and get that loaded up right quick.
That's sweet and spicy.
Right? And I don't think they're in chat right now, but like I had an interesting conversation with an individual earlier about the, 8K form for the SEC for it's not just for cyber breaches that can affect shareholder or publicly traded company shares. Oh, there's PBO.
Hey, there's PBO.
He just had to roll out of bed and come defend himself on the 853.
Yeah.
I wasn't bad mouthing it. I was just saying I'd be shocked if he doesn't have a tattoo across his chest that says it. That's all.
No, it's the companies I work for, NIST 800-53, and most of our clients are large states. They are actually NIST 853. So I do it every day and been doing it for like the last 15 years. So all the third-party assessments we do is NIST 800-53. So.
Well, I was working with some NIST 853 today, PBO, and I was thinking about you the whole time.
If you ever need me, you just hit me in the Discord on the bat signal. Yeah, NIST is used a lot. I don't know. I'm a little worried since our current regime is firing a lot of people from CISSP, so I don't know what that means for NIST. But
only like 6,000 or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That can't possibly be vital at all.
I know.
I mean, there was that one research team or something that, was like investigating Blockbit or something along those lines. But
yeah, so the other thing too is there's something called state rent that a lot of states are actually adopting, and that's actually NIST 800-53. So it's kind of weird, especially with CMC picking up steam. So that's a little interesting. But now I live that NIST life, so.
Bam. Yeah, and also like Fredon mentions, don't do it, Chris. The name NIST can be changed.
Shout out to NIST.
Wouldn't that be something like 15, 20 years down the line? People are like, what the hell's NIST?
I mean, NIST can't be changed once it's on your knuckles. So
yeah,
that's a good point.
You can remove it, but yeah. So yeah, that's super interesting.
That's why you go
I know
jewelry.
people who have gotten tattoo removal, and that's more painful than getting the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why jewelry, man.
Well, if you're
getting
NIST for life, though, why would you want it removed?
It's true.
Yeah, that's kind of my point.
So you won't get a job because you got tattoos on your knuckles.
Okay, but come on. If somebody's interviewing for a GRC position or an audit position or whatever it is, you work with NIST and they literally have a tattoo of NIST, like...
I always tease them because...
Other than a mental eval, I mean...
you got to remember the baby boomers are still hiring. And the thing, I talked about one of my favorite baby boomers. I think millennials, I think half the millennials are tatted. So that's kind of like a whole different kind of mindset. Because the old guys like me, the only people in the 80s with tats were sellers and shady people and bikers. So that kind of changed the whole game.
I mean, I would be willing to say that more than half of the millennials are tatted.
I agree with I think we came up with 60%, but we were surprised it was more than half.
I bet it's more than that.
I kind of look at it as long as there's no like face tattoo or something, you know, like
you good.
you're probably good, you know, like.
I mean, you could get like NIST on your eyebrows or something, right?
So,
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
but I
Too
think
too far.
Yeah, I think
NIST on one side, ISO on the other.
You can tell when they're sleeping at work at that point.
that's a good point.
Yeah, they're over there nesting versus snapping.
Yeah, it's just times has changed though. But yeah, so we were just talking about that from a.
I mean, I worked with a few people. One guy was actually in finance. He had sleeves. I mean, they stopped like about here. So like, I'd worked with him for like 6 months to a year, and the one day he after a meeting, he rolled up his sleeves. It's like, dude, you got double sleeves. Okay. You wouldn't know because he was always wearing long sleeves.
How's it going there, Akin? Yeah, I've seen quite a few different people go through. Oh, yeah, I've seen quite a few people with tattoos and so forth in business, but like it really does depend on the company.
It depends on the company. It depends on what it is, right? Because I know.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was a podcast or something I was listening to. There was a podcast. I don't think the podcast exists anymore, but the one person that chimed in because it was talking about tattoos, and there was a woman who said she had a tattoo and she had troubles with it because it was a tattoo on, like, I think on her forearm of like a naked woman. And the company obviously wasn't a fan. She was in food service, like, so they wanted her to cover it up, you know, but yeah, as long as it's nothing like that'd be considered like offensive in that sense, I don't see why it's a big deal.
Yeah, I remember there was a problem at one of the previous companies I worked for because a guy wanted to like actually work in the sales, but he was like put in the back room for like online sales instead because he had face tattoos. So,
yeah, and I get the face tattoo ones, you know, like I can kind of understand that.
And it wasn't
one.
like a tattoo; it was like face tattoos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a little bit different too.
Rhonda.
I can't commit to a hair color, much less a tattoo.
Gotta commit.
I only have one tattoo personally, but I am perfectly fine with getting more.
Well, so if you can't really fully commit, Ron, you're not sure, and you just want to get one, you get it on like your back or something where you're not going to see it all the time. Then you kind of forget it's even there.
That's a great idea. I could just put NIST on my lower back there.
Yeah.
See?
A NIST tramp stamp.
All right, I got to come in on that one.
I'm glad B-Dub said that. I wasn't going to touch it. Go ahead.
We will never attend a swim party together. Never attend a swim party.
It wouldn't shock me if Jerry already has one. I mean,
now I'm not hungry.
That's actually very likely, Flakinator.
North Dakota
also,
guys.
Hack SpaceCon in May, which I will be attending down there in Florida, does have a swim party. Like a pool party.
Thanks for the warning.
There's a pool party at Hack SpaceCon.
So,
but
pool party with
I will say that when I was there last year, nobody was in the pool. So it was just a pool party, like where you hang out around the pool.
There was nobody in the pool?
There was people all around the pool, but not in the pool. I think there was like two people.
People probably weren't willing to put on bathing suits.
Well, also last year it was in April, and if I remember correctly, at nighttime it was a bit chilly for swimming.
Okay.
So
Polar Bear Club.
Yeah. This year should be a little bit warmer.
And which one is that again?
Hack SpaceCon.
Yeah. In Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Florida.
I think
That's a big
day
state.
1 is May 18th.
Okay. Oh,
It's
that'd be
at the
nice and
Space
warm.
Center.
That'd be nice and warm. Yeah.
I've never been down to Florida, so I'm pretty excited about it. What conferences, you guys in chat, what conferences did you guys go to or have planned out? I'll also be in Deadwood.
PAX SpaceCon is May 11th through 15th.
Okay, that number.
Not the
I don't
18th.
know. That's what I have a calendar for.
I know.
I don't even know what day of the week it is
It's,
without looking at a
so
calendar.
It's Sunday to Thursday, but that's your pre-conference training too. So the actual conference is the 13th to the 15th.
Too cool for poll.
Pre-conference training, is that where they teach you how to sit there quietly and listen? Like,
Yeah, they teach you how to go to the conference and attend it. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
huh?
And
No.
it's like a full 8 hours or something too. So, and you get a piece of paper from it.
As long as
2
they provide
days
food, who cares?
of 8 hours.
I don't think they supply food actually. Not at the training.
It should be warm in May, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially in Florida.
Hmm.
It's warm in Florida now. It just wasn't that particular week that we were there in April. At least at nighttime. During the day was warm.
Fred on says, seriously, you have to know NIST by heart to do something like that. It will be very embarrassing to have NIST on your forehead, but can't answer basic questions.
Yes.
Oh,
You
gosh.
could spell NIST.
Yeah, as long
Yeah,
as
it
you
could
can
be-
spell it, something matters.
That's a start, you know.
Mhm. I
Just
mean, I
don't
hope you
misspell
can.
it as a tattoo, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Jerry sometimes can't remember them all. I mean, there's so many, unless like PBO, who's doing it
Yeah.
constantly all the time,
So,
you're not going to remember them all.
But if you have
Yeah,
it
and that's-
tattooed, you probably should.
You
It
should,
could,
yeah.
Well-
it could be a no regrets moment, though, also.
No regret.
No regrets. Sorry,
No-
it's from
no
a
I
movie.
regrets.
actually have to put it
The Millers.
backwards so that way it shows correctly in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so NIST itself just has like over 400, it's like 460 some odd publications just under cybersecurity.
Facts.
And like PBO just recently talked a little bit about NIST over on the Lunch and Learn with Simply Cyber earlier this week. And like NIST does way more than that. Like they actually came from the scientific side and then they just got thrown into the cybersecurity more so because of the scientific side of it.
Yeah,
But,
they started in 1897 with weights.
Really? That's
Weights
cool.
and measurement.
Yep, weights and measurements. They were doing a lot of electrical work too, which I thought was unique. But yeah, so
Yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff. A lot of neat
cool
things.
stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like JT Webb, B-Sides, Greenville, Augusta. I'm horrible at stuff.
Augusta?
Atlanta. Charleston.
Yep.
Oh, Charleston. I was there once upon a time. Back to back this year.
Chavstown.
And then Jason asked what B-Sides are like.
They're so much fun. Go to one.
How many people on the panel here even has been to a B-Sides? I've
I
only
have
been to one.
Been to 2 different ones, but I've been 3 times total. So I've been to the DFW one, and then I've been to the Austin one. DFW is free. Austin is like cheap. So they can range probably. They're locally ran, so some of them are going to be free, some of them are going to be very low cost. They're all going to be different, but like the ones that I've been to are probably around 400 people, maybe 300 to 400 people. Trainings and talks all day long, and workshops, and some of them will have lock picking and all your conference stuff. Yeah,
Just sounds funny. All your lock picking, your usual conference stuff.
all your conference
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And then if you stay to the end, make sure you stay to the end, because at the end there's always, at least in my experience, there's an awards ceremony, and you got to keep your little ticket, and you hand them your ticket, and they do drawings for free stuff. There's some pretty cool stuff sometimes.
Cybercycle's
Neato.
showing his age here when he said he went to A sides and then he flipped it and played the B side. You have to be old enough to remember a record.
I've played A and B sides.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess he could be talking about the good old floppy disk when he had to come out. And flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too often.
I mean, I'm old enough to have used a floppy disk in school, so.
So I have a question about the B-sides name. Where did that originate from? I've not searched it up or whatever. Where did that
Anarchy.
originate from? Anarchy?
No. B-dubs probably knows the answer to that part, but all I know is the fact that it branched off from the other conferences because there wasn't enough speaking engagements.
Oh.
So there's so many people who wanted to speak and conduct talks, and there just wasn't enough opportunity for that. And so B-sides went off and started doing their own thing, and then all of these locals popped. So.
Oh, Ron, that's a good point. Also, so does some DVDs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know the name where it came from. Probably something you could research,
I bet Grok
though.
knows.
I bet Grok does know.
Don't hold me to it, but I think Simply CyberCon and B-Sides Charleston will be on the same weekend. It's possible. I don't know what time Charleston will be this year, but it's looking like Simply CyberCon is going to be the first week. So, but I liked how that was laid out. So Simply CyberCon last year, day one was Simply CyberCon, and then the next day was B-Sides at the same location. And like that B-Sides, I got a t-shirt included and a badge, and it was $25. So
in Dallas, you get a t-shirt and a badge that you get to learn how to put together yourself, and it's free.
Yeah, but you know, not everybody can just burn money like that. Then you have
I'm
to
just
ask
saying.
yourself, where are they getting their money from?
Sponsors.
I'm sorry.
Facts on the sponsors.
Mm-hmm. It's a nonprofit organization.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. And so is Goodwill. But I
Yes.
also don't want to, you know.
But I can vouch that nobody is getting paid at Dallas B-Sides.
Yes, yes. Of course.
A couple of sponsors reached out to me, but they look kind of shady. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that you guys would want me pushing, you know, NordVPN or anything.
Push some identity protection stuff too, right, and all that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Not
just
that
enter
any-
your social security number.
Not that anybody needs it, right? Because pretty much all of us have had so many breaches on our stuff that
I
we all
know.
probably have just stacks of the stuff.
Facts.
Uh, Rania says that it's named after a vinyl record.
I would believe that.
We need you to come up and verify that information for us.
Yeah, right.
Just trying to make her come on stage.
I mean, why not? It is an open stage if anybody else wants to come up. Otherwise, I can get PBO to talk about vulnerability management or disaster recovery, assessment process. We did have some questions about high trust and then also HIPAA that popped up in the Discord server this week. So that was interesting. Like one of the questions earlier in Discord was asking about the assessment process for HIPAA in particular. And my understanding is that there's not really anything special about it other than the fact that you take it from the PHI standpoint. You're trying to protect that information in particular and legal requirements.
Yeah,
regulation.
if you look up high trust, they got a few more regulations in the high trust, but it's not a ton. I'm not a big HIPAA fan. I think they're a little light on security, but I think everybody's light on security though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the baseline.
Except for the 53.
Yeah, I
Facts.
think you're right about
Bare
that.
minimum.
PBO.
I
They
think the
they
news
check the
proves,
boxes.
right? The news proves that pretty much everything is light on security at this point.
Well, man, Chris was kind of talking about security in the cloud. So we got to Ticketmaster. I was like, it wasn't Snowflake's fault. Ticketmaster didn't do MFA. You can't blame
Well,
Snowflake because Ticketmaster didn't do basic security.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's true. But shouldn't Snowflake also have made that mandatory anyway? Even though, right? Because it's kind of a tough gray area, as in, because it makes Snowflake look bad.
Sounds
Because
No.
like a failed contract. Sounds like.
yeah, I don't know.
Snowflake did a good job. They came out real quick and was like, everybody who put on MFA was okay.
Mm.
Well, yeah, but it still was kind of like the snowflake breach, like it was known as, more than anything else. But
I
just
don't just
prefer the company doesn't, all these places aren't just passing it like, well, it was a third-party vendor. It was yeah, but did you do the due diligence that you're supposed to do to your third-party vendor? Because if you didn't, you can blame the third-party vendor, and yes, it is them and their fault that they got breached. But you as a company should have really also done the due diligence to make sure that their security matches up with what you guys have in place. And if they don't, you either say, you guys need to come up to what we're doing, or you're not getting access to our stuff.
So is that Ticketmaster's fault or Snowflake's fault?
Well,
probably a little both.
That was my question, Flakinator. You didn't answer that.
I would say probably a little bit of both. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, Ticketmaster's already screwing everybody over, right?
They didn't make MFA mandatory.
My issue, and I don't disagree, and I think y'all actually swear me. Ticketmaster's $1 billion company. If you can't fucking figure out how to put MFA,
correct,
you should get sued for negligence. But I don't know. Well, I do feel like you should put some safeguards around it to help them. But come on.
Well,
go
maybe
ahead,
they just didn't have the budget.
I was going to say,
$1 billion. The budget wasn't there for MFA. You know how it goes.
Just $1 billion.
That always comes down to the Benjamins.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Also, comes down to that. But yeah, I don't say facts often, but what you just said, PBO, knowing my dealings with Ticketmaster, they were very, very fluid on using that F-bomb on every conference call. So you know what? Yeah, sleep in that bed you make.
Yeah, I know. But like you said, agrees that B-side comes from a vinyl record.
Oh yeah, I love.
Thanks for the fact check there.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I finally got rid of all my vinyl. So that's
man.
From what I know, it's coming
making
back.
A comeback, PBO.
Sales are going up now.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm a vinyl guy. I'll say it. I'm a vinyl guy.
Well, part of it probably is people are realizing they don't actually own any music anymore, and if whoever you're with decides, we don't have the license for those songs anymore, those songs you love are gone. Like, great, now what do I do?
Streaming is dreaming.
Just go on YouTube and Google them up, and they'll come up. YouTube got every song out there, but
for now,
just about.
So everybody's trying to make money.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially in regards to like the MFA part, like, I mean, that also tracks back to the checklist. Oh, do you have MFA enabled? Yeah, here, check this out. We have MFA on this. Oh, what about your other 35 different tools that you use? Like,
yeah,
that's something else that I've also seen and heard about, as well as the fact that like just because you have it in one spot doesn't mean that you should be marking that off the checklist. So,
well, it's similar to, I forget which breach it was, where one of the groups breached into a company and hit the camera. Right, this like stupid little IoT device, and use that as the jump off point, which of course no one's going to secure their camera because they're like, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever secure an IoT camera? But that was used to launch it all.
A vulnerability.
Why would you not secure it?
Because it's an IoT device, and most people don't think about those.
They can be some of the most vulnerable, though.
Correct.
GRC Academy's got the answer. They were just pushing MFA out on the POAM for 6 months.
Thanks.
And then 6 months.
Yeah.
Shout out to B-Dub.
Yeah.
B-Dub brought a tear to my eye. She like, trust but verify. Shout out to B-Dub. We verifying everything.
Well, IoT needs a DI in it, because if you don't lock those things down, you're an idiot.
Yeah, their defense in depth, they have forced, updating the passwords every 60 days or 90 days. So you don't need MFA.
It's a lot of work, but necessary.
Facts.
Defense in depth as a mitigation.
I mean, if you lock your door every day when you leave the house, then you should lock down equipment every time you go to work. So, I mean,
I don't lock my door every day. But
oh, well.
I need to get better.
You probably shouldn't say that on a live stream.
PBO.
PBO's has insurance.
Yeah, I'm insured.
He's got cyber PBO insurance. It's just going to transfer
Is
that
insurance
risk.
covered if your door's not locked because you're not taking your necessary... you don't have your controls in place.
Yeah, but I'm not snitching on myself, B-Dub. I'm not snitching on myself.
What would you have told somebody, getting their laptop stolen in the back of their car if their window wasn't even broken?
Well,
sorry.
Well, you're responsible for your government laptop, so you could get fired over that. True story. This one young lady got her laptop stolen, and she was frantically crying because she thought we were gonna fire her. So, but I just thought it was an honest accident. But my boss was hot. Yeah, yeah. And let's be real, a laptop now is like $150. And the other thing is, you should be saving all your stuff up in OneDrive anyway. So we can just remote wipe your hard drive. It's got the FIPS 140-2 encryption. Shout out to NIST, but so.
Well, not even that. Just saving it up into whatever's the approved cloud, not necessarily OneDrive, but whatever the approved company cloud is. Right. Let's say it the right way. It also makes it easier then if your computer dies or they give you a new machine too, because it makes it super fast, super simple.
Yeah, one of the different labs that PBO still has to do is the thin clients from AWS.
I like that. Shout out to
this is a good shout out too for the IoT devices.
Yeah, because they were using that for CMMC using a thin client.
I like what. Pardon me. Go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, go ahead. I've been just on my soapbox. No, go ahead. Get in there.
I hate to interrupt you. I'm sorry. You always got good stuff to say. I was going to say I like that comment from Rania, I believe, or Rania. None of them have that, and I think that's where that cyber trust mark might help. So.
Oh yes, for the new thing for the IoT devices, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it does. There's a lot of effort in it, so hopefully it'll create a standard out-of-the-box sort of baseline that we can rely on.
Until someone else creates a different standard.
Yeah.
That's kind of what seems to always happen is one company will come up with the standards like, great, and someone else goes, we can do that too. Yeah. And then you have 15 standards and none of them want to talk to each other, and you're like, great, thanks, you made it worse. Great.
Frameworks equal competition in the market. So it's good stuff. Anyways, didn't mean to interrupt you, buddy. Go ahead.
No, you're right there, and I think Breezy and Chris, because the one guy was talking about third-party assessment, and somebody said look up SOC 2, SOC 3, and have insurance on your third party. So, which kind of made sense. So if you're doing third-party assessment, if they got SOC 2 or SOC 3, somebody else validated. Then if they have cyber insurance, if they get you hacked.
Well, you have to be careful too with the cyber insurance, right? Because they'll hardcore investigate you first before they pay out, and if they find you violated anything,
that's why you need your SOC 2. Then you can sue the accounting firm if they miss something.
Yeah,
but facts. So yeah, that's why I think they said the SOC 2, SOC 3 that'll validate that.
Hey, this is a good one. I like this one.
Yeah. So the Payne had posted this the other day. How standards. I can't even talk. Situations. There are 14 competing standards. I'll leave this up for a moment, but yeah, the Payne posted this over in Simply Cyber the other day.
Facts.
Yeah, this one was. I can't remember how long ago this was. This was, I think, a couple months ago that this was posted up on XDC.
Yeah, this was coinciding with the conversation you guys were talking about how, just more and more standards and frameworks and so forth just come about. It's way too true.
Well, I used to work with a guy who said the best thing about standards is that there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, it really is.
But is that a benefit?
Well, and then like using Apple as an example with their old Lightning cable. They never would have changed if the UK government hadn't made the new rule. Mm-hmm. But then because it's Apple, then when they changed, they're like, we did this amazing thing. It's like, no, you didn't. You did it because you had no choice. And even worse is their cord is still like crappy, like USB 2 speed or something. Like it was garbage. They didn't even go.
Yeah, so like I know on like the latest iPhones, for an example, you have to have like their Pro Max or something like that to get the full Thunderbolt speeds as well.
Yeah, it was like, come on.
Yeah.
Thunder Punch.
But that's also where you get like capitalism from.
Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch.
Video can be Thunder Punching Apple.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry was talking about that.
About Apple? Or
no,
Thunder Punch.
Thunder Punch. We were talking about junior assessors just reading it from the the Excel spreadsheet. I told him I like it because I thunder punch him. Because that tells me you don't know what you're doing, so I'm gonna run over you with the thunder punch. So setting tone. We were talking about setting tone for an assessment. So
Yeah, and thanks for hopping in, Rhonda.
shout out to R Squared and R Squared Prime.
Hey Chris, can you, if I send you something, can you
Possibly.
yeah. It was the image I think I shared with you a while ago.
Are we gonna have to put it through Virus Total first?
You
Probably.
can totally do it if you want.
Virus
Yeah, more
total
than likely.
engage.
Facts, man.
Yeah, we'll have to, copy paste over to Virus Total. I'll do it live on air.
Yeah, I'll send it to you through Discord if it'll let me.
Perfect. Oh gosh. As it's like, this may be a virus.
I mean, there's always our contact form on the website. It'll automatically send it to Virus Total, right?
Facts.
Yeah,
It's not as much fun.
that's only PDF. I also have that restricted by file type.
Yeah, that's probably pretty smart.
Yeah. I try. Little by little. Which one is leading the competition right now? NIST? I don't think that there's really a competition. I wouldn't phrase it that way.
But to answer the question, I think it depends on where you are in the world.
That's false.
No?
No, you're right. I just think America's number one.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
That's fair. I didn't say anything about, anybody
Like that.
being better than anybody. I just
No,
said
I
it depends
did.
on where you are in the
There we
world.
go.
You did, but I did. But
I know you did.
So
Yeah.
it's an interesting question though, because I don't look at it as a competition per se. Now, when you look at some of the different options that are out there that cost money, then it could be considered more of a competition. But
I mean, if you get PBO and Chris Hidalgo in the same room, it's probably a competition.
But not really, because it's just like Chris also agrees on the fact that that ISO is actually better with NIST. They're a really good combination together because they haven't.
They are.
Yeah,
Everything-
like ISO is better on that management end.
Everything's better with NIST.
Everything's better with
I'm
NIST.
sure. But see, that's where I'm saying that I feel like it's not really much of a competition because I mean it's like CIS for like small business. Like
Yeah.
a lot of NIST isn't going to work for a small business,
Yeah,
really.
let's just do the low.
Yeah, pick and
Oh,
choose,
just do the
man.
low.
It's a salad
Okay,
bar.
the
Well, yeah, see-
149 low baseline from 53. You want to try to implement that in a small business?
I've done it before. You act like I'm about this life, man. Come on, I've done
There's
it.
different levels
You gotta
of it.
walk. You gotta
Yes.
crawl before you walk, man.
Well,
Right.
and
You got-
the perk of NIST is you can pick and choose. Unlike with ISO and with GDPR where you have to do them all to get it.
But isn't that better because then you're not tailoring out the stuff that you just don't want to do?
It is and it isn't, right? Because if you're a small company, it's really expensive to have to do all of it and meet it, and they might not be able to afford it. Whereas at least with NIST, they can at least go through some of these controls. Yes, it might not be enough, but it's better than zero.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is unless you're in the government, it's all voluntary. So you are going to pick and choose whatever aligns with your business goals and objectives.
It is good.
You don't want to implement something that's going to impede you from running your business.
It is good marketing though when you go off and say, compliant with 853.
Facts.
Well, and
And
yeah,
I-
you can say it, right? You don't have to say I'm only compliant with one of the things. It's still I'm compliant with with 853.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say it's
Sales
definitely,
loves
at least if anything were to happen, you would show diligence in some area that you're trying to approach things with standards. So whether you pick and choose little pieces of it or not, as a small business, I mean, I think it all counts.
Yeah, and I'm also throwing this in chat too. So this is with the filter for the low baselines. So yeah, 149 low baselines for the 53R5. But obviously, I mean, you're not going to implement every single one of these, right, PBO?
You can't because there's a lot of families you're never gonna get to, but
Yeah.
if you need them, they're there though. And I'm old. I guess for me, that's my argument with the CMC guys is you can't tell me you're gonna have less checks and be more secure. That just doesn't make sense to me. But
I think it depends on what the checks are, though. like the fact that they're even making the attempts is important, but as long as it's not just a checkbox type of scenario. But like one of my concerns with that is like, oh, okay, we're going to go at the low baselines, but then 149 of these gets knocked down to 30. You really shouldn't be saying that you're running off of the low baselines for 53 at that point.
Oh, granted, but I mean, that's with anything though, right? But no, 100%. You got to tailor it to make sense. And if you leave off like MFA, you negligent, right? There's some there's some things you can't leave off, right? So
which is
that's
where
what a
like,
risk register's for.
Yeah, and that's where I can see an advantage to stuff like ISO or high trust, where you have that accreditation with it, or even the SOC 2.
Yeah, but I guess because I'm old, I always think of FedRAMP and you get an ATO, so that's really accreditation for NIST. So that's where I always go to. If you're gonna be credited, just go FedRAMP.
PBO, you got to make a private entity ATO.
There's a couple.
That's what you got to do, PBO. There you go.
There's a ton of 3PAOs out there that charges a shitload of money. But go ahead.
I guess they got VCISOs. You can do like a VATO.
Oh, GRC Academy's got to come up on stage now. Anyone know how well does CMMC compare to 53?
Yeah, it's way short. CMC's NIST 171. You got 171 in the
yes, I
board.
do.
So if you bring up 171 and compare to NIST, CMC is 171 plus, I want to say 10 more controls.
Bam.
Cooey.
So,
Cooey.
Oh, GRC Academy chimed in.
yeah, CMMC is only focused on confidentiality of CUI, moderate baseline. We are stuck on 800 171 R2, which is based on 53 R4 for a while.
That sounds like a Scrabble strategy.
Right.
God bless America.
But because they just said 800 was just too heavy of a lift, so that's why they came out with CMC. So you're gonna say it's too heavy, but you're gonna be more secure.
Hey, at least it's something there. And then since we got GRC Academy popping in too, like I have the Trello board for it, but we do also have this resource here that we've thrown out before too. Ooh. So the 171 controls are also available on GRC Academy's site as well. So you can go through and filter through it and everything else and search for keywords. They have the exact same thing on here for 172, 53, and the CMMC Control Explorer. Yeah, it's you don't even need an account. So and they keep this up to date as well.
Thank y'all for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, but 171 is a subset of 853 big dogs. So
what would be neat is mapping these together.
No.
Like through here.
No.
No. It's out there.
I don't think the mine can map that, dude. That's.
Oh, I've seen it.
I've seen it. It's out there.
I have infographics that map most of those together. It's just it'd be a feat to put them all in line.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something.
Could you Trello that?
So I did play around with Trello. We have, I don't know, like 6 different things up on Trello. But so one of the features is on the Pro Edition, you can go through and you can link to other boards, cards on other boards, which is what I was going to play around with, because also you have like associated controls. And that's what I was going to work on. But the problem is like, there's 1,000 controls in the 53 for an example, and you would have to manually go through and apply those. Like copy the link and paste it, and it's just.
How many was that, Chris?
I don't know. A lot.
I just like when you said 1,000. I got excited.
That's what it feels like. So, in total, there's about 1,190. That includes withdrawn, though.
I'm old. A lot of things don't get me excited anymore. That actually got me excited. 1,000 controls. Shout out to us. Like I'm.
Shout out to us.
Shout out to us. We 1,000.
Yeah, that's all of the cards on here.
NIST 1K.
I think it was like 1186 or something along those lines on the spreadsheet, but that's everything combined on the R5.
I thought R square was cutting out. Ryan, you're back in. Shout out to her.
Oh, we got GRC Academy up now.
So shout out to GRC
Welcome
Academy.
to the party, pal.
What's up? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, so the reason why CMMC is only focused on confidentiality is because way back 15 years ago, under the Obama administration, they issued an executive order. I think it's 13556, and it was establishing the CUI program. And then there was a regulation put in the Code of Federal Regulations, which was all scoped to confidentiality. When it's on non-federal systems. And so what NIST did, I had a conversation with Dr. Ron Ross, he just recently retired from NIST, actually.
I saw that.
Yeah. Because I was in DOD towards the end of DIACAP, and so he told me the story of how he was trying to convince DOD to adopt the federal standard of RMF. So that was really fascinating to hear. But in any case, what they did is they went through the moderate baseline of 853, stripped out all the controls that didn't speak to confidentiality, and that was NIST 800-171. CMMC is going to be stuck on revision 2 for a while. We have 110 security controls, 320 assessment objectives to do. I see you right there. Yeah. I was involved with an ATO that, because I've done some RMF work too, and I know, man, you can have 600 controls, 1,000 assessment objectives. It's crazy. But in any case, it's actually a pretty big lift because there's a lot of small businesses in the defense industrial base, and they can just drop $100,000 getting ready, right? I spoke to someone on my podcast who spent $485,000, getting ready. He thinks he could have saved $300,000 because of things he just didn't know at that point in time. So there's a whole ecosystem standing up around CMMC. It's definitely an interesting place to be. Canada just released their program, which is supposed to align with CMMC so that we can have reciprocity between defense contractors in Canada. Theirs is based on revision 3 of NIST 800-171. DoD will get there. It's just probably going to take 2 years, maybe something like that. But I think that's the norm. Because just think of how long they took to get from R4 of 853 to R5. So pretty interesting stuff.
Gotta hurry up and wait.
That's right.
That is very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm dropping that link again too. Yeah, that was a really great podcast that you had there. I had mentioned it earlier this week too, actually. So awesome stuff over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's some great history background as well.
Yeah, and I talked to him also about why they didn't adopt ISO 27001 back when they were building out 853 before they did. And he said back then there were just way too many gaps that they needed to address. Nice. And so they went off and built 853. But that was another, Dr. Ron Ross has been around for a long time, and he has a lot of historical knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you can also find that video too. I dropped a link to the recent CMMC 480K video over there on GRC Academy's channel, but you can also just search for Ron, and you could find that other video as well, where he did the podcast with Ron Ross. And what was his role with NIST again? I think he was just in the lead for the cybersecurity, right? Yeah,
he did a lot of things. He was the lead author of NIST 853 of RMF. He was in charge. He was leading something called the Joint Task Force, which was a conglomeration of some federal intel agencies and how they were going to adopt 853. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Super interesting guy. He really was giving, a really giving person. Really good.
Yeah, one of my biggest things, we threw out multiple times too, is that he was regularly going through and posting all kinds of awesome takes and information up there on LinkedIn too for a long time. So I was closely following where he was going through. I think it was the 800-160. He was doing a complete series on LinkedIn about
security engineering. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. With his take and information, just teaching through his LinkedIn posts.
And I was working on a a DoD system. And when they released NIST 800-160, my boss at that point, who was with the government, was so excited because I think he felt like the security wasn't incorporated into the engineering side. So the system security engineering kind of, the system security engineering, it kind of tries to integrate it right into the engineering process, which, that's been a problem forever,
Mm-hmm. Bam.
Yeah, I was
Straight
talking
from the source.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody from CMMC, from that C-SPIN guy. They were talking about giving reciprocity to 53 in the STIGs. So what would that look like? But
reciprocity into the STIGs.
Yeah, you can map them back, and I guess that would qualify. So they try.
Oh yeah, definitely. CMMC, the configuration control, it doesn't tell you where your hardening guidance has to come from. Personally, I come from DoD. I'm using the STIGs myself. Some other people like CIS. The STIGs have a good amount of DoD centric information in them that you got to just cut out. But but you can also say no. Actually, we need this operating system functionality. That's up to you. And it's also something interesting because back in my ATO days, I thought about the people who were actually signing off on those, and I was like, man, that's a huge responsibility, and it's really based on their technical risk assessment capabilities. You know what I mean? That's a huge responsibility to say, yes, this is an acceptable risk to run on the government network.
Yeah, I did a couple ATLs. Those guys just trusted their team. They usually had a couple guys they trust, and it was like. Mm-hmm. But for me, since CMMC is really not picking their hardening, I'm always like, to me, that's kind of a little soft, or I guess a little weak. That, especially compared to the STIG. So once again, I'm gonna let that go. So for me, I think we're going backwards in that way. So
yeah,
my 2 cents. But once again, I'm an old curmudgeon, and I'll be punching people in the throat.
You just want everybody to just run the 53.
So yeah, I think we're going backwards. We hiring people with tats, and we doing CIS checks. We going downhill.
Oh gosh!
Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn, guys.
I'll say though, it's better than what most small businesses are implementing today, which is nothing.
I guess, and I don't disagree. But once again, you talking about doing DoD and federal work? If you can't afford it, you can't play this. You can't play this realm.
Yeah.
Put your big boy pants on. Why we letting small vendors in and don't got any money? That's crazy.
That's right.
I'm sure we can find somebody to do that screw or whatever specialty you think you have. Nah, so that's me. Get off my lawn, guy. That's why Chris don't let me on stage too often. Getting off my lawn.
Yeah. I still got to put together that disclaimer.
Facts. B-roll. I need that. These are PBOs and not study GRCs. We have to get the little disclaimer for that.
Yeah, don't listen to PBO over here, except on Tuesday nights when he goes live on his own channel.
No, I love it, man. It's great.
Facts.
That was a really good stream though that you had on Tuesday night regarding in cloud. So
you had some excellent questions. I thought you were joking, but you came up with about 6 or 7 strong questions.
Yeah, so like one of my one of the things that I really do need to work on is cloud, and I've messed around in Azure. I really don't like it as much, so I'm going to just go the AWS route. There was another recent report for the market share, and so AWS has 30%, and then Azure has 21% right now.
Facts.
So as of Q4 of 24. So
Azure don't catch them by 2030 though, but.
And so like you showed that really good slide deck there, which I mean, you probably have it on your desktop somewhere for that showcased all of the different tool usage. Like mostly coincide with GRC.
Yep.
And like I actually took a screenshot of that just because that's a great starting point.
Let me know. I can always shoot them to you. You help me every day because I can't find crap in Discord.
I can't find anything on your YouTube channel either. You got to work on that SEO.
I know. I do. I suck. The cool thing is this Tuesday we're going to go over those again. we're gonna pull out the GRC, and I'm gonna do a lab on Security Hub for GRC specifically for NIST 800-53 R5. We're gonna scan a tenant and see some. I'm looking at some findings currently. I like it. So I don't have a hard token MFA on one of my accounts. It has to be hard token.
Oh jeez.
So I guess I need a YubiKey for that. But no, but so yeah. So we'll be walking through that this Tuesday.
Bam. Well, and that's also one of the advantages in the cloud too. Is I mean, even along those the regards with CMMC as well, is it just makes it the process way easier. It seems, especially with the tool usage that they have.
Oh, facts. That's one thing. All the clouds do. They give you the tools, but like we just talked about, Snowflake gave Ticketmaster the tools. They just didn't cut an MFA on.
Yeah, and so I will actually pull this up and drop the link to the pane. So I literally just looked this up the other day, and so this is has been like the go-to resource more than once. I'll drop this in chat so you could pull it up, but I'll also pull it up on screen here. I think it's a great article. They go through with a lot of market data, and they also have a really fancy infographic here. So this is dated February 27th of 25, and so this is the updated one. And this is based off of data available from Q4 of 24. And you could see here 30% AWS and 21% Azure, which if I remember correctly, I would have to look it up, but I believe the previous year, so I believe in 23, I think Azure was at like 24%, which means that they actually lost some market share, I believe.
Interesting.
So does that mean that basically doing compute in AWS is better than the office productivity in Azure?
No.
I think it depends. I think one of the main reasons for this is because you see more, like, from my understanding, what I've kind of talked with people about is like, if you're already using Microsoft 365, you're more apt to use Azure. But then also you have the dual cloud options as well. So I forget the term offhand.
Hybrid.
No, hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yeah.
Hybrid. Yeah, there you go. And PBO's talked about that before too, which is actually kind of a smart move. So, but it seems like a lot of software companies run with AWS.
Look at old Google Cloud coming up JV behind all them.
Yeah. Google came a long way. One of my good friends is a security guy at Google. I need to interview him again. I think Google's taking some Azure spots. I still think Azure is going to pass AWS because AWS steps on a lot of toes. Meaning they compete with a lot of their customers, where, you know, like if I'm Netflix and you come out with Amazon Prime, I'm not going to pay you $30 million a month to compete against me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So
yeah, Google Cloud's probably picking up people that don't afford Azure because it can be expensive, and they go to the workspace and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's probably a 5% difference there, but.
Well, and one of the other things I noticed when I looked at Google Cloud is I feel they have better transparency on pricing, because like you could actually, it'll say that you get this much for $20 a month or whatever.
Yeah, they're more dialed in for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about like user interface though? Because like my personal preference goes in Azure, Google, and then AWS. That's just me.
Right click, remove.
Yeah,
AWS.
I don't like Azure's. I don't like Azure's interface.
They're both clunky. Both of the top guys are clunky. I mean, they could be a little bit better. So maybe that's coming. I mean, it's.
I don't know.
It's all
we need like the Call of Duty of clouds, right?
Well, the thing is, AWS, they want you to use the command line. They want you to kind of do all this stuff and lock it down. And
facts.
I mean, they're big into automation.
Get your Terraform on. Yep, facts.
Yeah, just anything, just connect and send scripts. So.
Facts.
The beginnings of infrastructure as code, but
if it's VI, I'm not touching it. I cannot figure that thing out.
Oh, VI.
Hey, at least you got your fine line there, right? For your sanity.
Yeah, VI is like the Edlin of DOS, and that's another aging thing right there, Flakinator. If you remember that. You remember that PBO, Edlin?
I do. I do.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm dropping this in chat too. So cyber without the e.com, they do sponsor our giveaway, which gets drawn randomly next Thursday, the last Thursday of every single month.
Oh, look at that.
You got to hop into our Discord for that. But they have a bunch of free hands-on labs. And the really unique thing about this is not only is it 100% free, but you actually just click a button and it deploys an actual account in AWS. It's real actual hands-on. It's not like, oh, watch this video and, you know, go through this simulation. It's actually in a real AWS account.
I like that provisioning aspect. That's pretty cool.
Correct. Yeah. It's really unique. I haven't seen any other service that's implemented anything as seamless.
Yeah. Christoph was really good today. It's the first time I ever watched that stuff. And I'm usually picking and choosing what I want to watch, but he was really good. I thought he delivered the whole thing today. Pretty cool.
So we have a special guest out in the audience. You're welcome to come up on stage if you would like.
Speed up,
to know a little bit about what it looks like as a GRC professional. Did you want me to give you the stage, PBO or
you want me to
B-Dubs?
go? Okay.
Oh,
B-Dubs
Bam,
first.
all on you.
Me, all
Shout out to
giant.
B-Dub.
Bam,
Facts.
Hey, what's up?
all on you.
Facts.
All on me. I mean, I'm in application security, but I do compliance. We do a lot with PCI. So, my day to day could be different. Some days I could be like working on updating policies and procedures, aligning that documentation to the different frameworks that we use, such as PCI, High Trust, NIST. Shout out to PBO. But sometimes, you know, I'm doing internal auditing. We're in the cloud, so I'm checking through the environments, making sure that there's not any missing controls that should be in place based on the different compliances we have to follow. Or I'll do like quarterly compliance stuff where I'll be basically go and get screenshots and then I send it for evidence. There's tickets and whatnot. But I work very closely with developers in the SDLC, which is the software development lifecycle. Brain is not braining. That's what I do. Yeah, words are hard. The gist of it.
I love SDLC because the S means so many different things.
Yeah.
And
Superman.
And since we have you, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry, it's probably a delay there. I was just chiming in. Go ahead, Chris, please.
Oh no, you're fine. I was gonna since we have GRC Academy up, did you want to share like a day in the life on your end? I know you're primarily CMMC, right? For a contractor?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm a bit different because I'm in a small business and I do everything, including GRC and IT admin and like all the things. But in a GRC context,
that's great.
It would be. Let me think of how to explain this. So if let's say we're starting from zero and implementing a compliance framework, like CMMC, for example. It's based on NIST 800-171 revision 2. So you look at those controls and then you have to derive requirements, right, around those controls. You might be working with a technical resource to, determine how you would actually implement those. So that's like a requirement derivation process that you would go through, looking at those requirements. How would you implement based on your environment? And then, of course, there's always, the risk assessment process. You're looking at vulnerabilities. It depends on, what tools you're using. Pretty familiar with the Microsoft stack. But I know that there's some pretty helpful indicators, CVSS being one, and then EPSS being another that you can look at to determine like prioritization over what patches you should be installing at what point in time. Hopefully you can just patch them all, if you're a small environment. But that's pretty interesting as well.
You do a little bit of everything then.
Yeah. And then policies and governance.
Like the point of contact then, right? For
yeah, policies and governance, and also around AI tools, you know what I mean? Because, a funny story, we were looking at some of our network traffic to different cloud apps, and we were like, these folks are using tools they shouldn't use, really another part is writing governance, and it just determining like, okay, we have this tool. Here's how we're going to be allowed to use it. Here's here's the data that we cannot put inside of it, those types of things. And then it also comes down to evangelizing all of that to the organization, because we can't stand alone on our own. Policies and processes are not any good if it's a fire brigade exercise. Everybody in the organization just does their own thing, and they don't even know about them or where to find them or even how to implement them in their day-to-day. So I'm just waiting for the day where there'll be like a fancy chatbot that they'll be able to ask, hey, am I allowed to do this, based on the policies and procedures? That'd be pretty slick. Like a Jiminy Cricket or something.
Streamline it a little bit.
Yeah.
Bam.
I also forgot to mention that I, alongside my GRC duties, I do, I have to do daily log checks, but I also watch for incidents within a SIM system. So I touch on a little bit of blue team even on GRC. So just throwing that out there.
It's awesome.
So you probably got a few hats that you kind of swap out, and depending on the mode that you're in.
And so that stuff is daily, but everything else, it kind of depends, are we working on our quarterly compliance checks currently? Those will go on for a few weeks, but it doesn't last the whole quarter. So in between those, we're working on
quarterly check. What would that entail?
Quarterly compliance check. So in particular, I'm doing them for PCI. So there's a few different PCI requirements that you have to provide evidence quarterly that you're doing this thing. One of those is providing evidence that you're checking the logs daily. And so there's a list of like a little less than 10 different things, and I have to go gather evidence. A lot of times there's a template document, and I just paste my screenshots in there, fill in a little bit of information. It's really not too difficult unless it's, one of them is a clean vulnerability scan, for instance. And so if that's not clean, then you got to go work with your developers and get that fixed. Just different things. So that's kind of the quarterly compliance check. What else?
And also, if you guys have any questions, definitely drop that in chat, or otherwise we also drop the stage link as well. Everybody's welcome to come up. We have like 10 slots available up on stage or so. Cybercycle's like, come on in. I wish I could say we have cookies, but maybe in person.
Yeah,
we don't bite too hard.
I can whip some up.
Did you want to go ahead and give your take for a day in the life, PBO, and then we could take this question here?
I had one more question for B-Dub. She was on the road.
Oh.
Are your development team pretty friendly when you try to give them vulnerabilities to fix, or do they push back?
So where I'm at specifically, I do know that there's probably a lot of other companies where there would be more pushback. Where I'm at, our security team has a really good rapport built with the various development teams that we work with. So there's really not any pushback at all.
That's awesome.
They work with us really well. And we also go kind of a step above and maybe do some things, we try to do our best to make their jobs easier when it comes to compliance and the requirements that they have to do to meet these different compliances and whatnot. So if we need something from them, we'll provide them a template, or just be like, just give me the information, I'll fill in this document, So we try to make their jobs easier. So they like us. So if I give them a vulnerability I need them to fix, it's usually, I would say sometimes, depending on the time of day, it may even be fixed that day. So
that's cool. I've seen that a lot, but a lot of times I've seen a lot of pushback. So, but
no, there could definitely be pushback, but that's why it's so important to build that rapport with your teams, even if you're not in application security. Whatever teams you're working with outside of security, definitely build that rapport so that you can work well together.
Yeah,
no, that's 100%.
Yeah, and so in regards to this question here, so advice for anyone looking to start in GRC, where to start. Before I pass it over to PBO to kind of give his take for day in the life of, he's got a lot of experience there. I did want to throw this out there. So we did compile a playlist on YouTube. This is typically what we send to people who are like, oh, you know, I think GRC might be a fit, but I don't really know where to start, or I don't know what it even means. This playlist starts out, it's designed in order. And so we have like Jerry talking about a 20-minute video of what is GRC. Like, so you want to work there, what does it actually entail? But there's additional videos here, including a day in the life. So the complete GRC analyst day in the life that Jerry did for Deadwood in 2022. So that's a really, really good talk of, you know, maybe a more entry level position as well. We also got PBO's video about GRC, and then Level Effect did 3 different videos, one about governance, one about risk, and one about compliance, to break those down a little bit, which are a little bit shorter. So I'll drop this in chat. This is a really good bookmark, and that's typically a good starting point to just get a better idea of what it actually means.
Wow, that video's 2 years old. I've been in the game a minute.
You got like four-year-old videos, PBO. You were going to make a course 3 years ago.
I know.
You have to go through and update some videos, PBO.
Right.
I know. I'm working on it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, the last thing I was going to mention there too is that a huge factor is also with community. The industry is so broad, even just GRC itself, and there's also a constant balancing act between the technical side and improving on that, and the GRC side. The large majority of GRC does involve audit, so that gives you a little bit of a starting point to an extent. But there is a ton of resources out there. It really depends on what direction you kind of want to go. So understanding the high level view of what GRC is a good starting point, and then try to dial it in and get like community perspectives and be like, hey, I want to learn about this or go this route type of thing. PBO?
Yeah, I'm gonna meld my last 3 jobs together, but kind of like B-Dubs was talking about, I can do internal and external audits. I work with the developer team, software acquisition, any software. When I was at the state we buy or anything, we got to do a security review on it before it can actually come into our organization. So that's part of the risk assessment and supply chain in this. I'm trying to get into the cloud and do more AWS compliance and automation. So the other part is too, which is weird. I read through RPs and contracts, and I send legal staff stuff, privacy stuff, and information security. So privacy, if you talk about CCPA and GDPR, you see that stuff in a lot of contracts now. Procurement, termination for convenience, and all kind of legal terms from a cybersecurity contract. Looking at cybersecurity insurance, because you got to do assessments to get cyber insurance now. And my next thing is, I think I might get back into cloud architecture and get out of GRC, but we'll see. I think B-Dubs is just getting too big. I'm gonna need to find something else to do.
So you work more with
Getting too big. Come on.
So you're starting to move more into the cloud, particularly AWS, and then a large portion of your position is compliance against like NIST.
Yes.
That's be a lot of cloud. Be a lot of cloud too. Yeah.
I thought he was ISO. Kidding.
No. Ooh, no. So the company I work for is the NIST, and when you bid on IRS work, they're NIST, CJIS, which is state police and FBI, which is criminal justice work, that's NIST. So a lot of the software we do or try to do or business we try to do is based on NIST. So that's where the clients ask for NIST and we do NIST. So that's where the third party and those sending us big questionnaire.
And that was like one of the things that really threw me off earlier on too, when I started jumping down the GRC rabbit hole, is all of these different frameworks. Like PBO just named like 6 of them or something. Yeah. So like you could definitely look those up and so forth. There's actually a really good book on Amazon that has like 60 different frameworks on there. You know, that just gives like a breakdown of each one a little bit, but it's not required whatsoever. Like, you know, just pick some of the, figure out like what industry you want to go towards, and then just, you know, work on one, learn that a little bit, play around with it, and then move to another one. You don't, like, I originally had the mindset of like, oh my God, I have to learn 50 different frameworks. What the hell am I going to do?
No.
One thing for sure, that GRC follows the data. So it doesn't matter if it's on-prem, cloud, on a USB drive, portable drive.
And
In
you're
your
always
head.
going to have to check the documentation. Always.
In your head.
In your head. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake is they try to learn, like, I know them all, but they kind of stacked on. Once I got familiar with NIST and the IRS sits on top of NIST.
Well, and there's a lot of overlap too. So
Oh, I
it
know.
makes it easier. Once you,
Yeah.
start with one and you don't have to memorize it, but, just understand it.
mhm.
And then you can kind of pivot to others as needed.
Facts.
like math, right?
Yeah.
BD-bubs, it's finding that common denominator.
Yeah.
It's everything's common if you look close enough.
Yep.
Yeah. True that.
And we also have
As
another
my wife
question
says.
here. Yeah, true that.
True that.
I'm currently in healthcare remote role working with medical record data. What task could I complete that would be a great way to understand GRC or start to show interest to leadership?
Read the HIPAA and the high trust documents. They got the website out there for HIPAA. I'll start them.
Change your terminology.
So just looking through the HIPAA documentation, seeing what their standard policies and procedures out there. Then you can relate your healthcare work and roll it up to the HIPAA and high trust policies. And like BDUP says, usually somebody's doing some kind of audit in healthcare at least twice a year. And so I'm sure you could use your background to assist in that probably paperwork. Because now I think Chris mentioned this. I think privilege accounts now, they want you to do them every quarterly for your essays and DBAs. So I think they want you to review those every quarterly.
Any other takes on that?
Well, in CMMC land, we focus on blowing things up, so I don't know too much about the medical space.
Oh God. Do you have any recommendations on how, like, somebody who just like works with the data or a data analyst or otherwise could, try to showcase that they want to get into that GRC role more?
Well, Chris, I think it goes back to exactly what you were saying about identifying, the sector, right? That you're focused in, that you want to work in, and then look at the job listings out there. Look at what frameworks they're listing in those, and then start, because like you all have been saying, there's so many frameworks, so many standards, and just find the sector you want to work in, and that might be location dependent too. You know what I mean? As well. So look at the job listings, see what frameworks they're calling out, and then learn it. Go out there and learn it. One thing I don't like about ISO is that they charge for all the standards. I really appreciate NIST for putting everything out for free.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Correct. Making the world a more secure place.
Doesn't CIS cost money as well?
I don't know.
It can. So it's not all paywalled, but for their tools it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you muted, PBO?
I am. The checks or not, you can download those. And if you go into any of the big scanners, they use Nexus, and Rapid7 has CIS benchmarks built in.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Did you see this meme
been a while.
earlier?
Okay.
GRC Academy?
I did.
Okay. Just making sure. It's so true.
Yeah. What's your all's opinion, GRC folks? Do we need to be technical?
Yes.
I would.
You have to have the aptitude.
Yeah, so I would say you don't have to be technical, like you don't have to be an expert, but you do need to understand those basic technical concepts. You need to understand how traffic flows, so that you can't protect what you don't know. So you need to have an understanding of it.
Yes. What I would say is be technical enough to be able to tell when the sales guy is lying to you for whatever vendor it is.
Yeah.
Have some awareness.
And you have to be able to have those technical conversations as well, with whether it's IT or developers or whatever the case.
Yeah, and I see that as like one of the struggles in the GRC realm is that balancing act, because there's so much on both sides of the table. And yes, so you do have to be technical, at least starting out, just understanding some of the base concepts, which is why I think getting something like the Sec Plus is a great starting point.
I do too.
That's a really good foundation, so that at least you have somewhat of an idea of how things work. But then that's one of the greatest things about these industries is it's literally lifelong learning. Like, you're never going to get it all down. But like, once you get into a spot and you like it, then you could even dig deeper into what you guys have. And be able to work with those other teams, communicate with them on their level.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like GRC has the potential to work with, depending on the organization, right? But has the potential to work with so many different teams and competencies that you will have the opportunity to learn so many different things. And like, especially like B-dubs, you're working with developers, right? You need to have an understanding of what their working environment looks like, because I haven't worked with developers very much, but I've done a little bit myself, enough to understand that it's very complicated. Like, I've just spun up VS Code myself, and like, oh man, there's all these modules. Like, what would GRC look like for that? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot.
Oh, wow. Top 10. So, yeah, I always thought you needed to be technical, but I just didn't think everybody on the team needs to be technical. So that was kind of my role. I was kind of did the technical stuff, but if you're working for a full organization, I had to meet with the infrastructure guys, the cloud guys, the DBA guys, because you're giving checks to all those guys, right? If you're giving them STIGs or CIS level 1, boo, whatever benchmarks you give, and you got to give them to those teams. So like B-Dub said, you got to have at least a high level understanding for those checks that you're giving those guys.
Yeah. And on occasion, you'll bump into the technical person who speaks very confidently, and it's not true.
Yes.
You got to be able to see through that and know enough to,
evidence.
Yeah.
Evidence.
The cool. Go ahead, B-Dub.
I was just going to say, and you just have to have an understanding. You don't have to sit there and be able to calculate subnetting in your mind, You just need to understand how it all works.
Yeah, I'll share a quick story. So I was working on I'll just make this real high level, a project. And there was a contractual requirement that the software had to account for. And it was around FIPS 140, okay, the crypto modules. And I started asking the vendor, hey, give me I think it's the CMVP record for that crypto module.
Right.
And so they finally provided me something, and it was expired. And I was like, this is weird. I didn't know much about FIPS back then at all. But I was like, this is weird. Why is this expired? And then it turned out that they had upgraded the crypto module to another module that was no longer compliant. And they had to this was a major vendor. They had to rip and replace the module based on what I found there. But all I did was pull on threads, literally. I think you just got to be curious and pull on threads, and you'll find a lot.
You indirectly encourage them.
Yes. And also, PBO, you'll like this. So the sales guys were saying, it's an appliance. Don't worry about it. It's an appliance. And so what we did is we got into the command line, the Linux command line. We were evaluating it against the STIGs and all that stuff. The help desk hated me because I kept sending them all these STIG checks that were coming up with nothing, right? But then the next major version release, he said, yeah, we aligned with the STIGs. I was like, yeah, I'd love to hear it, So if you just pull on threads, if you're curious, if something doesn't sound right, pull on it, and you can really benefit the security of the organization just by being curious, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Oh, no, that's a lot. But I think he just brought out something that's super important. As you get experience, you have like 10 questions are hard. And the first one he mentioned is the first one I asked him. Are you FIPS 140-2? Are you FIPS 140-2 level 3 compliant? and I need your number so I can go look it up. Right. So
right.
then and most small companies can't do that. Right. So
Yeah.
that's one reason NIST is expensive. Oracle has it, but they're gonna charge. Microsoft has BitLocker, but all that stuff's gonna cost you a pretty penny. So
Yep.
It's your third party review. That's the things you look for, especially is that FIPS, because a lot of people still struggle with that.
Yeah, they should.
Doesn't that come from the government, or where does that come from, PBO?
Now the companies do it, but you
The third party?
Yeah, the companies do it, but they got to send it to the government for approval.
Okay.
So, and I heard it costs like $100,000. It's very expensive.
Ooh,
It is.
yeah.
Now you can take Red Hat. They have OpenSSL. You can compile it a certain way to get it to be FIPS, but it's hard as hell. So
Yeah, I've done that with RDP connections
yeah,
and stuff before. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the cool thing I like about AWS and Azure, they give you FIPS endpoints, FIPS encryption,
Supposedly.
S3 buckets. You use their KMS keys. Their stuff is already FIPS, and it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah.
So FIPS is it. Do you guys want to hear a little bit more about FIPS? Let me know if you don't care.
Keep rolling. You there?
Flips us in.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been learning a little bit more about it, and I've heard the term FIPS compliant before, right? But the real term is FIPS inside, and what that means is that your application bundles in a FIPS validated module, right? And so, for example, I had a call with the NIST program manager several years ago, and he explained it to me in this way. And he said that SharePoint, he said back then, FIPS compliant, or what we would say FIPS inside. It bundles in Microsoft's FIPS validated modules, right? And therefore, SharePoint would be called FIPS compliant, or the real term FIPS inside. And so you'll see that a lot, like OpenSSL, right? That's everywhere. If you run it in FIPS mode, if you look at the certificate, they might have some caveats in how you have to run it to be truly operating in accordance with the FIPS standards. But like, there's so much to it. I'm diving in a little bit because we're doing something, and it is it's crazy complicated. It's extremely complicated.
Have either of you guys jumped into the revision 3 yet?
Of
FIPS 140 TAC 3?
Yeah. Didn't they just have it like on draft or something?
Yeah,
it's been final. And TAC 2 was superseded. TAC 3 was actually published in 2019, I think. And so I think at this point you cannot get a 140 TAC 2 validation performed. It has to be TAC 3.
Yeah, but I think he said stuff too. Is if you tell me you FIPS compliant, I'm gonna bump you off the list. What you're saying is I'm using AES 52, AES 256 or above, but I haven't sent it to the government, so I don't care. It's got to be validated or certified.
Yes, that's another thing. So they have two different programs. Main, I think the CAVP, which is the algorithm testing,
that's what
and then the CMVP, which is the modules that incorporate those FIPS validated algorithms. But you're exactly right, PBO. If somebody says, "Yeah, we use FIPS approved algorithms," that's not what it is. You've got to use the module that implements that algorithm.
It's got to be validated. So that's the thing. So when a company tells me they're compliant, I'm like, now you're trying to trick me. You got to get the thunder punch, right? So
yeah.
Oh,
you're trying to trick a brother, man. You got a thunder punch. So, but I'm cool if you says we understand it's compliant. We're using AES 256 or 1024. We got these modules or ciphers from Amazon or AWS. I know the big companies are kind of doing the right thing because chime in on this GRC Academy. AWS and Microsoft says they would love to do it, but it takes a year for them to get approved. So their security is actually better than FIPS because FIPS takes so long to approve their stuff.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, GRC Academy? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know too much about the process. I've never seen it. We are talking to a FIPS lab right now. I'm learning more about it, and just to know that it's extremely complicated. There's some other pieces I had no idea about. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is
like, oh, that's
this
good
is
to know
like
now.
way too nerdy. But another example of a product out there that you will see a FIPS validated module, actually just very recent, Keeper Security, the password manager, a big fan of theirs. They have their own validated module that they're leveraging, and they just got it done for FIPS 140 TAC 3. So maybe I can get them on the podcast and talk about that experience. That'd be fun. Who knows?
Bam.
You see anybody with FIPS 144? 140-4? Yeah,
I haven't
the
seen
big
that.
one.
I haven't seen that.
I think that's the highest level of encryption. I think it's one of those unattainable kind of things.
I was gonna say,
but
I've seen it. I've just never seen it in real life. But
That's
Well,
probably
they're talking about
something
the
for
levels?
post-quantum.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's talking about the levels.
that's Area 51. Area
Yeah,
51
so-
stuff.
But,
yeah.
but the cool thing is, all the big cloud vendors, they give you the endpoints. You pay a little extra money, you can get those FIPS endpoints. They already had them validated, so you use your AWS KMS keys, your private link endpoints, and you're good to go. So
Yeah.
and two is the thing I'm pretty understanding in depth, but the only thing I really look for in real life is I just need to see validated or certified. You say compliant, you don't qualify, and I just keep it moving, right? We have that
Compliance does not mean secure, right?
right. So,
Mhm.
but that's a risk you would have to look at. Now, if you're doing federal work, you couldn't do it, right? But if you're doing some kind of federal
get
work,
around it, right?
yeah. So
Now, here's a question here. So, directed towards B-Dubs, but everybody else can comment as well. What are your thoughts on going for PCI QSA in order to get into the GRC space?
Don't do it.
what?
You say what?
You say what? I mean, go for it. But so, first of all, it's really expensive to become a QSA. So I wouldn't, if you're trying to get into GRC and you're not in cybersecurity and you don't have an employer that's going to pay for it, don't do it. Also, make your employer pay for it, because that's going to benefit your employer, you being a QSA.
Now, my understanding is you also have to be sponsored for that.
That's
For
my
the QSA.
question. That was my question.
I cannot confirm or deny, because it's been like a year since I looked at the QSA requirements. So I don't know.
That's my understanding, is that the QSA does require sponsorship.
I thought so.
So
It
your
could
company
be.
has to already deal with PCI and have like
So-
an org account or whatever.
If you're just an individual trying to get into GRC from another industry or otherwise, yeah, don't do it. Also, there's a lot that goes into being a QSA. It's not somewhere that I would recommend starting to get into GRC.
And that was
So-
going to be my follow-up to that is you hear a lot of these different people talk about PCI as a gateway in. What are the thoughts on the finance industry as an in? Oh, here we are. Cyber Gangsters was lurking this whole time.
Facts. He's just me. That was my thing. I see a lot of courses people say you can easily get in if you do your PCI stuff. So
Yeah, and to just rehearse that part, it sounds like no, you would not recommend it. We also got to
No.
double check that sponsorship portion, but I'm
There's-
pretty sure you do have to have sponsorship.
There's also I forget what it's called. It's like a PCIP or something. Like it's literally a PCI professional. It's a certification. You can get it from the PCI SSC or whatever.
So there's an associate and a professional. Is what I'm hearing.
Well, so what this is this just says that you're a professional that understands not just the PCI DSS, but it shows that you understand kind of the high level view of all of their standards across the board, because it's more than just the PCI DSS. They have lots of different standards for different use cases.
Mhm.
But I will say, I think I looked at it, that one itself, you're not a QSA, it's not a certification for auditing. It just says you know and understand PCI, and I don't remember, I think
And
it was at over $1,000 and then more than that for training.
yeah, and Cyber Gangsters, that question was directed towards going for QSA to get into the industry, is what that was directed towards, Cyber Gangsters. But I think that's a really good breakdown there. And then also Vincent's dropping, that was the original question, person who asked it. So cybersecurity seems like a smaller framework to manage, and PCI compliance is everywhere. I had to deal with it from an IT side, so it is also familiar.
We just bought a firm. Go ahead, B-Dub, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I do PCI daily, and I work with a, what are they? Is it an ISA, I believe, when it's internal. So I work with one, and I would not want her job, is what I think about. So
Is that why you always wear black?
I wore black before. I've always worn black.
And then so Cyber
Black is my
Gangsters,
color.
that's a really good individual to talk to about PCI in particular, but they also state if you love traveling 70% or more of the year.
Well,
But that
It
could vary too.
depends. It depends because
That's
a
kinda
lot of it
interesting.
can be done remotely.
It might be
Especially-
different on the QSA though.
Especially if you're looking at
Internal?
companies who are in the cloud. There's nothing to personally go and audit. It's all electronic.
This is also a great moment to, first of all, I want to throw this out there. So let me pull this up. So last week we had the honor of Chad Butler come up presenting about policies, pipelines, ProdSec. It was a really great talk. That was last Thursday. Dropped all kinds of different knowledge and information. He also dropped this discount code for 90% off of his course. It is not directed towards newcomers. Definitely check that out on his website there though. It's like for DevSecOps. And so I'm going to transition over to this. The reason I'm pulling this up here, and I could drop that code directly as well. But the reason I wanted to mention this is because we're going to go ahead and auction off another one of these. So the individual who did win last Thursday when we did the giveaway, we tried to reach out to on Discord. We tried to find him on LinkedIn. We commented on YouTube on that video as well, and we haven't been able to get a hold of them. So we want to go ahead and hand this out and get it taken care of. And that coupon code I'm dropping right below that as well. So all you have to do is just drop ProdSec, which I'm dropping in chat right now, in chat on YouTube here or otherwise, and then it'll enter you in this random giveaway. And then what I'll do right before we end is I'll transition back over to this screen, and you'll see me go ahead and pull a random entry for anybody who's gone through and dropped ProdSec into chat. So
Let's
bam.
go. Let's go.
Yep, I wanted to throw that part out there. There was something else I was going to mention too. If you guys have any other questions, definitely drop those along the way as well. And then, yeah, GRC Mafia. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off.
I do want to add something onto this, and I see Cyber Gangsters is asking smaller framework than what. I would argue that PCI isn't necessarily smaller, it just has a smaller scope. So you're only looking at the part of your environment that stores, processes, or transmits credit card holder data, right? So you have a smaller scope, but the standard itself, what is it, PBO? How many controls? A lot. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a smaller framework to manage than others. It's still, and especially with the new version 4 and a lot of the changes that they've made, there's other controls you have to implement and updates and whatnot going on with that. But yeah, I would argue that it's not necessarily a smaller framework to manage than others. You just have a smaller scope.
I need to look in there. It's been a while since I looked into PCI DSS, and B-Dubs is 100% correct, because when I worked for a large state, we made sure our PCI sub network was tiny because we didn't want them looking at our other whole network, right? So we put it on the subnet. When we had a pay file, we would SFTP it to that subnet to get the pay to send those out, because we really didn't want any connections with there, because whatever touches it, like B-Dub said, it's in scope for your PCI. So we kept that network super small. So shout out to my man. He's the PCI SME. So gonna step down and get the floor to the gangster.
I'm gonna try to
And
be
also-
quick because I'm like, I hear PCI and my PCI senses are going off, right? I'm like,
Facts.
Spidey senses are tingling.
yeah.
Facts.
Yeah,
When they say
what I was gonna say.
NIST, when they say NIST, I'm like the candy man. They say NIST 3 times. I just pop
The
up.
cyber gangsters over here is like, oh, PCI. Oh, I got to defend this one.
Let's
You
go.
know, so
Pixie.
is it okay to comment on the QSA question still or no?
Yes.
Go
Oh,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah, of
So
course.
this, I get this question a lot, and I get a lot of times people are always like, why don't you should go for a QSA because you make the most amount of money, and it's like, I mean, if money's the only thing you're concerned with, okay, but the amount of work that's attached to that is monumental. It's monumental. So I always tell people, remember, a QSA is like being a lawyer, and a lawyer in a law firm represents multiple people. So you're not just, and if that's your thing and you can do that, great. I'm not trying to dissuade you from that, but I just want you to see the picture of getting that QSA. And there's a lot of things that come before it, right? So you have to have X amount of years of experience in 3 different methodologies. For example, you have to have your CISSA, you've got to be sponsored by a QSA firm. You have to run a couple of years as a QSA associate before you get. So it's not as just easy to say, I'm just going to get my QSA certification and that's it. It's going to take about 5 years for you to achieve that. And then there's the ISA, and people are like, but ISAs don't make enough. I have a position where I'm going to be sponsored as the ISA for my company, and that's what I wanted, though. I wanted that because instead of being like a lawyer where I have to represent multiple organizations, an ISA only represents one organization. And I am good with that. And if that's your style too, then that's what you want to go for. Then you have everything else. And we're talking about certifications, PCIP, right? So PCIP, you can
I
take
was
that
right.
anywhere.
PCIP.
And you can do that with anyone. Now, it's not the same thing as being an ISA or a QSA, but you do know your PCI stuff, and you can help out your organization with that. I'm sorry. Yep, it was a lot of de-scoping to focus just on the credit card environment. Appreciate the feedback. Didn't mean to make anyone ting. Oh, hush your mouth. You know you did. You know you meant the tingles to go out there. Look, and yeah, and you're right. So it does
And you
lower.
started it off too that this is a common question too, a common scenario that people find themselves in.
Yeah, and it's great. And look, if we don't have the time for it today, I understand.
Oh no,
Hit me
you're
up.
fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Keep rolling.
But
Yeah,
so
we'll be here for the next 4 hours. You know, we're in for the long run. We got
Facts.
PBO up on
yeah.
stage.
you are limiting a scope of the organization. That does not mean though that you. So in PCI, you still have to know the entirety, not just the scope of the credit card. What B-Dub said earlier, but you still have to know everything. You're only going to validate those pieces that store, process, or transmit credit card data and the systems that secure it. That's
Right.
kind
So
of
let
like
me
the
ask you
fourth
this.
piece there.
So it's a lot of work, but then how much money am I going to make?
You can make I'll say 6 figures. I'll say you'll still be in a 6-figure realm. You'll probably, I'll be honest though, with this last year, it's been really hard. So I would say to temper your expectations with PCI work right now, put yourself in the 70 to 150, and 150 would be on the high end right now. Now I do believe when the market swings back and it becomes an employee powered market, if that makes sense, right? I think you can probably get to the 115 to 180 range. Okay, so that's what I'll say.
Well,
but,
and especially with what you said already, it might be easier to just go for a CISO role.
I mean, it really might be. It really might be. Now, and I hear a lot of times people are like, the more expertise you are, the more niche you are, the better money you can make, the better job security you can have. I think
it also limits your options.
Facts.
Yeah.
We only have 2 people on our giveaway right now. That's all it's showing to me. So that's a 50-50 chance we got so far. We'll be doing this drawing in only a few minutes. So if you guys, oh gosh.
Trying to come in there. We got like a root domain link here and trying to figure out where it is.
Yeah, you just go on the new YouTube channel and drop prod sec, and it looks like you do have to have those caps, but then your name will pop up here. I'll leave that up for a few minutes here. But
they're coming in now.
But yeah, definitely some great information there, and I'll drop another link to that course as well. It is not a beginner-friendly course. but there is like some cohort ability with that as well, and it's really in depth.
I love that term.
Cohort.
Yeah, for some reason I like the cohort.
Right. Well, and so with that coupon code as well, so he even gave us a coupon code for 90% off for up to 30 people. So study GRC 90. It's a really in-depth course. But yeah, just wanted to throw that back out there. But yeah, thanks so much for hopping up to Cyber Gangsters and giving more detail to that.
Yeah.
Now,
Thanks,
does that require sponsorship though? That was my understanding.
Yes. So that's a good question. When you're QSA, when you're representing multiple organizations that want to be PCI compliant, yes, you do have to be sponsored by the QSA firm. Okay. That QSA firm or the QSA certification stays with you only at that firm. It does not follow you anywhere else.
Ooh, that's a problem.
So it's not portable. Wow.
Correct. So if you transfer to another QSA firm, it does not follow you. That
You have to
QSA
get another
firm
sponsor
has to
or
sponsor
something?
you, and you go back to do all the testing and everything else for that.
Goodness.
That's
Now, having
great.
said that, the ISA is the same way. ISA certification, you are sponsored by the individual organization. If you leave the organization, that sponsorship does not follow you. And each of the sponsorships, I think they last 2 years, but you do have to go back every year to not validate it. So, and then every 2 years you have to retest. Okay. So it's the same way for the ISA. If you leave the organization that is sponsoring you, your ISA will not follow you, but your PCIP will follow you regardless of what organization you're with.
Sounds like quite an investment for the company too.
Yes.
But less of a liability because they know that like, oh, hey, you don't get to take that with you.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
But that PCIP is still just a piece of paper that says you understand PCI and all of their standards and just a high level view with a deeper understanding of the DSS. But it's over $1,000 to get that.
So if you have an organization that does that whole, what do you call it?
Like an attestation type stuff to your skills.
Where they reimburse you back for your certification trainings. You could use that to help offset some of that.
But I think if I had $1,000 to spend on a certification, I don't know that it would be the PCIP. My personal opinion. I think there's a few others I'd be wanting to go for.
I think what I hear a lot of times with PCI is people are like, it's a very low-hanging fruit cybersecurity GRC field to get into. And so they're like, if I can throw $1,000 at that and just learn PCI, I can probably change my life around.
How many of those associates, just a question, how many of those associate level stuff stick with that same sponsoring firm?
So once you have it, you've got that part. So if you transfer to another QSA firm and you've already got all that prerequisites already taken care of, you can just go to get sponsored as a QSA off the bat at the second firm.
Oh, come on, Sarah. You can always gift it away to somebody too. I don't, oh yeah, I can just deselect you as well.
Just start the second week. You don't have to start the first week. Just jump in on the second week.
With the cohort portion, you don't have to attend every single one of them. I mean, it is still all optional with that, but
come on.
it's completely up to you. If you really want me to, just go ahead and say it again.
Say it again.
But we still do only have 4 people on the giveaway, so.
That's a good chance to win.
I had to mute whenever I was watching, and so.
Yep.
What was the giveaway?
So the giveaway is for this course here, and it's for DevSecOps, and it's by a guy named Chad Butler, who has like over 20 years of experience in industry and specializes with product security. It is not a beginner's course. At the bottom, he's actually very transparent about it. That's what I love about this. A $500 course retail is pretty pricey, in my opinion. However, he does have the years to back it, and it's not a beginner-friendly course, and he's upfront about that part. But also, this includes a cohort of, I think it's like 6 different streams or meetings or otherwise, plus support that goes along with it. So you have that actual support along the way as well. Plus you get access to he has a whole gigantic GitHub that coincides with it and all kinds of other stuff too. And I'll drop the link to this again as well.
So I just told everyone in the Discord to come in here and sign up.
Oh God. Oh, now
I don't know if they're
rated
listening
by
right now,
PCI. Yeah, and then also there's the discount code too. So even if you don't win it, there's also the Study GRC 90, which is good for up to 30 uses. So then you can grab it for $50. I will personally be going through this as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also signed up. I don't know about the cohort, but I'm also signed up for the course.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
But yeah, you just drop ProdSec in chat, and I'll put it in chat again too. But thankfully, we did actually, we don't have to be dead set on 2 hours anymore. So we're already over that period by 2 minutes, but we're still fine. We can still keep it going for a little bit.
Why? What changed?
Technology, tools.
Yeah, so one of the biggest issues was our post-production is sending it over to our editing in order to get the chapters developed, in order to get titles and SEO and all that kind of stuff. It had a 2 hour cutoff. So if it was over 2 hours, I'd have to download the 6 gigabyte file and upload it manually.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so we have had 3-4 hour meetings before, but also to respect everybody's time, we do try to keep it at about 2 hours. So, but more recently, I was like really trying to push to less than 2 hours, just for that post-production aspect.
Yeah.
But
he was being selfish on his own time.
Oh yes, most certainly.
He's working with even numbers.
Yeah.
So it's always easier. Maybe.
But now I can import up to a 4 hour file. So yeah, with just the YouTube link, which makes it.
So we're good for another 2 hours.
That's why you're up at 3, Chris. You're importing at 3.
Oh, it doesn't take that long.
Oh.
Yeah, so like this whole video, the whole post-production will take about 20 minutes for the import and to develop the chapters and then double check those. So about 20 minutes or so.
Can I share something else? There was a bit of good news that happened last week. It's not necessarily GRC related, but it is related to, like, it is an example of how you can pick up a job without trying to.
Uh-oh.
And so
you gonna drop all your secrets?
No, I mean, dude, I am not a gatekeeper. You know, I love to share whatever can help out the people. I always, I do not believe in hoarding the information for myself. And if it helps someone else out, awesome.
Of course.
Awesome. But I will say, so last week I had several months ago, I had an artist who was like, hey, let me get you in touch with this distributor, this person up in Canada. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'd like to talk to him. I had an idea about, so if you guys don't know, I like to gaslight or moonlight on the side as comic book stuff. I like to do stuff with comic books.
Cool.
So they put me in touch with someone. I sent an email, never got a response back. Skip forward a few, and they finally replied back and was like, hey, let's get a meeting in the books. And I said, okay. So we met. My original meet with them was just to talk about looking for a partner for a retailer and see if they wanted to partner up on releasing a comic book. And by the end of the conversation, he was like, I need someone like you. And I was like, what? He goes, I need someone like you on my team. I want to get into the comic book thing. He goes, I'm the #1 distributor of Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all this stuff in Canada. And I have brick and mortar stores all over Canada. And we sell the most of these things. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't even know that. And he's like, but I want to get into comics. And you sound like you know all this stuff. And you know the publishers and you know the artists. And if I wanted to do stuff, you could make that happen. I was like, yeah. And he goes, come work for me. And I was like, I'd love to, but I just started a GRC job and I'm, I was like, I'm doing that as full time. He goes, still come work for me anyway. I still want you to do something, anything. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I thought this was just him just speaking. Fast forward a week later and we've got all the paperwork and everything done. And I'm like, wait, did I just get a job doing comic book work legitimately out of Canada? Also at the same time? So I say that to you guys to share that you have to put yourself out there in those positions where you're willing to meet people and network and talk with people and have conversations. And as hard as it is to be like, I'm not trying to get you to help me find a job. I just want to get to know you. And ultimately, if that's where it ends up, I mean, that can be where it ends up. But network, I guess that's the point of the story, was network with people. Not just rely on the education or the resumes that you're putting out.
Yeah.
It's good to be loved, man. It's good to be loved.
Yeah, just have those
Yeah.
conversations and let them flow naturally without any expectations. You're literally just looking to make a friend.
That's what I did here with you guys. I didn't know y'all
exactly.
like beforehand, and these
Who
guys
are you?
these guys are great. And so yeah.
You got a friend in me. What he said.
Are we gonna have an outro song now?
Well,
Yeah.
you never know.
It should
I
be
mean, we
everyone
probably should.
singing the song. And then like just the circle of everyone singing a part of the song, and then it's laid on top of each other and everyone's singing the song at the same time.
That sounds like editing.
It's a cappella.
Yeah. There you go.
I hate
There you
editing.
go.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes, just let people roll in and everything else. I also posted this over in Simply Cyber too to give more people an opportunity to grab it. But yeah. The networking part is, I think, kind of underrated to largely. Like, people don't seem to think about that, especially from the get-go. A lot of people will off the bat say, oh, you know, I want to get into the industry, break in and so forth. I've been doing this, and this, but they haven't done any of the networking. And that is a massive part of it. And that's honestly what makes it really difficult too, because first of all, I think a good majority of people struggle with the networking aspect, but then also there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. So you don't want to be showing up to these conferences or otherwise being like, oh, you know, do you know of a job? Here's my resume. You actually have to build relationships. So, and there's also this resource here, infosecmaps.com, that I'll drop in chat, which you can easily go through and search for things in your area. I think in person is much better. Like, us meeting virtually is great and everything else, but in person is definitely a different experience.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even if it's just the small meetups that are locally. I have so many friends local to me. I mean, I introduced Study GRC to the whole DC 940 group, so they're pretty cool people.
Bunch of hackers coming to GRC now.
Heck
We're gonna
yeah.
kidnap them all.
Yeah, we are. So,
They're risky.
you know, there's I mean, there's so much value in getting involved in your local groups. So,
And if there's not one, create it.
yeah, create it. I mean, there's always opportunity to start one for sure. But I just want to say that too, you know, if you can't, if you're not able to go to these bigger conferences or whatever, that doesn't mean you don't have the chance, because the chance is right there, right next door to you, probably. So.
Yeah, and I think Flakinator might have signed off already, Davey. But we did ask him about that towards the beginning of this meeting, and he said it's going. He's working on some of the audit stuff and so forth and getting more familiar with it. But yeah, it's going good. Third week in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Flakinator recently got his first GRC gig. So he has like 20 years of IT experience, but he just got his first GRC gig as like a internal auditor type role.
Way to go.
Yeah, so compliance on Sarbanes-Oxley on SOX.
Rock
So
on,
bam,
man.
coming in like a wrecking ball. Jonathan grabbing that ProdSec, bam. And you should be able to start seeing your names pop up here too. So we'll probably go ahead and do this drawing here in a moment. So Cybercycle, final remarks, and then I'll do the giveaway after we do our final remarks here.
No, it's been. Oh, hold on. Let me get my camera right. Hi, how you doing? Everything's good. I mean, this has been awesome and a lot of good, healthy discussion. And appreciate you, Cyber Gangster. That's very insightful, and PBO and everything. It's just been it's been a great experience, and it's good to continue to talk about these things. They're important, and get people engaged and connected and optimistic and just brave, because that's what we need when we're going against risk and doing good things. So that's it.
Bam. PBO, final remarks, final last words.
No, NIST 800-53. That's all I got, man.
Oh, God. You're putting that on your headstone, aren't you?
Maybe. I enjoyed it. So when you say NIST, I'll probably pop up. But no, I enjoyed it. If you got anything from me, just ping me in Discord. So I'm in everybody's Discord. Shout out to Cyber Gangster. I usually peek in there a few times a week, so I'm usually in and around. So just add me. Chris might have to ping me though, because I can never find where people are at. But I'm on. Thanks for having me.
We might have better luck with snail mail at this point.
Probably. I'll be struggling.
Streaming, man.
Struggling.
You're reliable.
Yeah, I'm streaming and struggling in Discord. So I appreciate it.
Hey, we look forward to that course coming out, at least for the 53. Cyber Gangsters, final remarks.
You know, guys, if you've been pushing and you're grinding and you're grinding and you're grinding, and it feels like there's not any movement in the direction that you're wanting to do, it's okay to be discouraged. It's okay to feel like it is a hard time. It's okay to feel whatever you need to feel like, but find your people, get recharged, get some encouragement, look for something new. If there's that one piece of thing that you're like, maybe I should try this, it's the one piece of advice that I haven't tried, take a leap of faith and try it out. Put yourself in that uncomfortable area and see if it works out for you. Good luck.
Bam. And then you're doing comics and so forth, right? Have you ever heard of the Prompt catalog? Oh, you haven't? Oh my gosh.
There's a lot I haven't heard of.
Yeah, there's the Prompt comics, and then there's the Future Is comic series too.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention these because I have the paper ones too, and so I can drop these links and so forth, but these are cybersecurity comics. You know?
What?
Yes,
Black
so that's why I wanted to mention this, is because I wanted to show you, because you need to make a cybersecurity comic.
Holy cow, are you serious?
And the best thing is you can access these for $0 online, or you can order them for low cost, like for shipping pretty much.
Okay.
And they're full on comics.
That is freaking gnarly, man. Yeah, I didn't know about these.
They're really, really cool. So I wanted to throw that out there because I could definitely see you going through and do a PCI comic.
Heck yeah, dude.
PCI comic, heck yeah.
What
a nerd.
Wow.
So like, this was a special one with Darknet Diaries.
Nerd. With me, nerd.
Whoa. Wait, so he did one of these too?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so he worked with Prompt for it.
That's so cool.
That is gnarly. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to have to look that up, man. I didn't know those existed. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's really neat and pretty popular too, I noticed, for the cybersecurity ones.
Yeah, those are all from Black Hills. So they're in the Spearfish General Store.
Yeah, and I dropped a page link to the one that I have up on the screen here. And then B-Dubs, final remarks or last words there?
I mean, what Cyber Gangsters said, and if you need an opportunity to go make a friend, I have a CISSP study group that we're going to be getting together on Saturday to start Domain 2 about asset security. But the cool thing is it's live streamed on YouTube, and then there's like at least 10 or more people that hop into a secret voice channel in Discord. If you have your CISSP role in the Study GRC Discord channel, you know what it is. But we have a Discord voice channel in there. A bunch of people hop in and we talk about the topics. But a lot of times we'll go even deeper. You know, we'll talk about different resources. But the best part is you can make a friend. So,
I like that.
You know, while you're learning, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. Anyone is welcome, even if you're not going to get your CISSP and you
or
just
even
want
if
to learn.
You're just brand new too, you could still learn a thing or two and ask questions.
Oh yeah.
It all matters.
If today's your first day trying to get into cybersecurity, I don't recommend you go get your CISSP, but I do recommend you join our study group.
Excellent advice.
Bam.
GRC Mafia. All right, let's go ahead
GRC
and-
Mafia.
All right, so I dropped that last call and so forth. So it says 9 entries. That looked like more than 9 entries there, but maybe it just didn't update. Bam. Vince.
Winner is?
So Vince. Yeah, so
Nice.
you ended up winning the giveaway on that. Bam.
Congratulations.
And you were asking about the PCI earlier too.
Nice.
Go Vince.
Good grab.
So,
good grab.
so just the best way is to reach out on Discord. We dropped the links for that, or you can also reach out on LinkedIn. So you could either message Study GRC, or I'll drop my personal LinkedIn here as well.
Well, I
just reach out and we'll
believe-
get you that.
If I am correct on the YouTube names, I believe Vince is in our Discord because they have been joining our study group as well. So,
Bam.
bam.
GRC
Make friend.
Mafia.
There you go.
Let me go ahead and pull that down. Exit that. I'm not going to pay attention to the 40 tabs I have up and have a heart attack on live stream.
That would not be good.
Yeah, so
I'll have
we'll
to
bring this
implement business continuity.
Hey,
That's-
you're the VP. You got this.
That's
Yeah.
that's tab continuity.
Tab
Yeah,
continuity.
No, B-Dub, that's
Exactly.
succession planning. Let's be specific.
Oh,
Chris
gosh.
playing on that succession planning.
Whichever's
Are
on
you
the
telling me I
farthest.
need to have another policy PBO?
Facts. Got to get that succession planning going on. B-Dub's
Jeez.
taking over. Shout out to B-Dub.
I am typing
Shout
over
out,
there.
shout out to
Just
me, PBO.
Getting it done.
Shout out to me. You know, that's my favorite thing. Shout out to
Yeah.
me. I'm doing a great job. Shout out to me.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
I mean, it's
congratulations,
the
Vince.
it's the self affirmations. That's what keeps us going every day, right?
The
Keeps us
inside
from
voice.
getting too discouraged.
We gotta
Shout out to
believe.
me.
Yeah, we gotta believe in ourselves. Shout out to us.
Yeah.
Shout out to us, B-Dub. Shout out to us.
Bam.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also don't forget about that giveaway that gets drawn next Thursday automatically by the bot for the HIPAA conference. So that's April 10th and 11th virtually. They have a bunch of awesome talks coming up. You just click participate in our giveaways channel on Discord. And also Chris Hilgado is popping in. Get the cross-training
Hidalgo.
matrices out.
I
It's the doggo.
Hildago. I'm
Hidalgo.
bad
There
with
you go.
names. Come on, Hildago. I try. Most of the time.
You did good.
Oh my gosh, I lost about 100 tabs because I was up late,
Jeez.
tired, and installed CISO Assistant.
I'm
What'd you
sorry.
do?
Damn.
Accidentally close them, or how do you lose 100 tabs?
If I have
you're
more than like
sleepy?
12, I start freaking out.
Don't count mine right now.
Meanwhile, Cyber Gangsters is like, I'm not even counting this.
Cyber Gangsters is like,
I
I'm
can see
turning the
look
camera
on your
off.
face. Yeah, so thank you all for hopping in and joining us for tonight. This was our open discussions. Next week, we do have our job readiness and group resume review. If you click on the envelope icon on our website, studygrc.org, you can go through and fill out that form to submit your redacted resume to go on live stream next week as well. You don't have to participate. You don't have to watch it live. You can always watch it on replay if you wanted to. But yeah, some awesome discussions tonight, pretty diverse across the domains. And thank you to everybody who came up on the panel as well, and great questions in chat and so forth. And yeah, GRC Mafia. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, for our AMA open stage as well.